Welcome to Black and White. I'm Mark.
And I'm Sheldon, and we're going to talk about the rebel flag.
Oh, God.
Wow, that's been it's been an issue that's popped up, throughout the last 20 years, really. And it seems to be this, and I guess the question from my point is, why is the rebel flag so important to people?
Well, okay. I was born in Massachusetts, so the rebel flag doesn't have an impact to me. But my friends tell me that, and I think this is an excuse to be honest with you, that it has the heritage of the South. Now, I know we're going to get emails and probably voicemails about, you don't represent us, shut up, which is fine. But it's my take on it that for some reason, and look, it's one thing to be proud of being a Southerner. I get that, okay? I can respect that. But when you want to take that flag and knowing the history of what took place to blacks in the South, you're dancing on a fine line. Really, what you're doing is you're kind of sticking it in their face saying, hey, you know what? We had you as slaves. And what I'm going to hear is well, that's not true. That we love the South and we respect it, and I get that. I really do. But let me tell you about where I live. Where I live, the rebel flag is hung from houses and around the area because it's a deterrent to keep blacks from coming to their house. They think that flag will stop a black man from coming and quote robbing their house.
And the interesting thing is, and maybe, again, I'm from the North, so maybe I don't feel the same, but the rebel flag has never been something that I've feared. I believe that if people are, have their flag and they're flying it because it's their heritage and maybe their, ancestors fought in the war and they're proud of all of that, right, that's one thing. But if you're using it for what you just talked about, and I think a lot of people do use it as sort of a fear tactic. Oh, I'm going to fly this because it's going to make them feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I don't think most black people feel uncomfortable about it. And maybe the southern black people do more than the northern black people, or maybe the older southern black people do than the younger southern, younger northern black. Because really, I see a rebel flag, I glance at it and I go, oh, okay. And I keep going. There's really no fear in it.
I mean, I get you, but at the same time, I do have friends, and you're going to hear me say this throughout our different segments, and I hate the phrase, but I got to use it. I have black friends who actually will avoid a place specifically because of that, because they know that there's nothing but hatred within that group of people. And look, I lived in this one neighborhood, and a buddy of mine came up to my house, a black friend of mine, and he dropped off a dumpster for me. And the lady came out and said, what is your black ass doing in our neighborhood? And they had a rebel flag there. And he looked at the rebel flag and he looked over at a house that was for sale. He said, I'm thinking about buying that house. Okay? So again, I hear what you're saying, but I also know that there's this element of nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to take that, that risk factor that maybe this guy is out there, over a black and white issue and can actually shoot you to death, and then you go, well, he shouldn't have been on my property, so.
Yeah. I mean, I guess from that standpoint, again, it's the American way that we allow people to hang flags however, if a flag, like we don't see people flying Nazi flags.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the history of Germany.
Right.
So
Definitely.
If we're not allowing that, if we don't see that, then what is this rebel flag? And if the rebel flag is connotating such a negative sort of connotation, then is it something that we should allow to fly?
Well, and then if you're a Southerner, which I'm sure we're getting our percentage of white Southerners that are watching this, and they probably already labeled me a certain name, which is cool with me. But I think their heritage remains. And I know that they took rebel flags off of state houses down in Georgia. I don't think that's politically correct. I think that's part of their heritage. And I think that, again, we got to have a. I think there's a fine line with this. We had
Yeah,
talked.
but if you fly the heritage, the rebel flag on the state houses, then what other flags should be allowed to hang to
Oh,
fly
the American flag definitely
Well,
needs to be there
American flag
over top of it because
over-
obviously we're in America.
Right. I think that the rebel flag should have been taken down from the
state houses where they had it.
because it's just like you go to war, you win a war, and you don't have the opposing flag. I mean, it was a war.
Germany still flies the German flag.
Yeah, but they don't flag. They don't. The Nazi flag's not flying.
I'm with you on that.
So
Italy still flies the Italian flag.
Yeah.
I mean,
you.
Again, there's this thing about heritage. I mean, these people do have a heritage, and unfortunately, and here's one of the misconceptions about slavery, which really needs to be brought to light, is the fact that every Southerner owned a slave. That's not true. The percentage of people that actually owned the slaves was not that high.
It was your rich Southerners.
Exactly. So that flag for that Johnny Rebel who went up to fight the North means about their way of living. Okay, so that heritage, and and again, if we're talking about heritage, we're talking about people who have family that were in the Civil War and they actually fought under that flag. Again, there's certain things that I think that we should understand. I don't think, like we've been in conversations before, I don't think there's a right and a wrong as far as that goes, as far as your heritage. But again, I flying the rebel flag at the Capitol building, I don't think it's such a big deal as long as it's in the right setting. It's
not. Yeah, again, I don't think that you should be flying the rebel flag. I think that's an American flag that belongs there.
So it's a slap in any black person's face, or is it a slap in America's face?
It's a slap in both.
Okay.
If you're flying a rebel flag, and again, that's like you're flying the flag of someone who lost the war. As
far as the Capitol goes, right?
As far as the Capitol goes.
Okay.
You should be flying. It's the American flag. Okay. You didn't win the war.
Okay, but are we changing history? Are we changing history by denying the right of that flag to be flown over their state house because they were a Southern?
No, they're not. No, I don't believe it's
state.
Yeah, I don't believe it's changing their history or denying a part of their history. I think that if they want to fly it on their homes, that's fine.
Okay, so
I don't think it should be flown at the state capitol.
So by it being flown at the state capitol, it's an insult to the black community?
It's an insult to black community and I think America in general.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not, again, you're flying a flag. Remember, the American flag was basically, you had your American flag and you had your rebel flag. Right. And they were fighting.
Right.
The American flag won.
Right.
So the rebel flag should not be at the state house.
Right.
It can be at your house if you want because it's America and you can fly whatever you want.
And I'm going to tell you something that's funny. With music, I used to like a band called Leonard Skinner. And Leonard Skinner is from the South. Mm-hmm. And my belt buckle is a rebel flag, but it spells Leonard Skinner. Mm-hmm. Okay? Never thought twice about it. Never thought it was an insult. Never thought it was bad. And then one of my friends says, why do you have a rebel flag on your belt? And I'm like, no, that's Leonard Skinner. They're like, no, that's a rebel flag. Mm-hmm. And I was taken back, and I was like, oh, wow, okay. Now, again, I'm a northern boy, so it really wasn't a big deal. It was the group that I liked, and mm-hmm. I was representing that group. Yeah. But in essence, I was wearing something that was not so politically correct to people.
Right.
So
it's it's interesting. I think it does rub people the wrong way. Black people definitely. I'll see the truck riding down the road with the rebel flag on it, and I'll tell you what our initial reaction is: racist.
Right.
And that's
right,
and
right,
it may
right,
not.
Right.
They might
not be right.
But our initial reaction when we first see it is racist.
Right.
There goes a racist person.
No, I agree with that.
So if you want to be tagged with that, that's your business. And I know we're going to get a lot of comments and emails regarding this. And it's great. It's good because, again, neither one of us are really
We don't represent the South. We don't represent the South. But again, you know, my opinion is that the heritage, that flag. Now, if the North had lost, I think that the Northern flag should have been, still should be flying.
No,
you know?
I don't think so.
I
disagree. I think if the South won, then the South flag is the one that flies.
Well, I get it. I get it.
It would be. I think that's the way. That's the way it should be. So, again, there's no right, wrong answer. It'd be great to hear from you guys out there. Go up on our website and send in your comments, and we'll see.
Positive or negative, we don't care.
Positive or negative,
Let's
keep it
talk
clean,
about it,
and we'll address it in a later segment.